परात्पर राम, कालात्मक परमेश्वर राम, शुद्ध ब्रह्म परात्पर राम, कालात्मक परमेश्वर राम, शेषतल्प सुख निंद्रित राम, ब्रह्माद्यमर प्रार्थित राम, चंड किरण कुल मंडन राम, श्रीमद्दशरथ नंदन राम, कौसल्या सुखवर्धन राम, विश्वामित्र प्रियधन राम, घोर ताटका घातक राम, मारीचाति निपातक राम, कौशिक मक संरक्षक राम, श्रीमदहल्योद्वारक राम, गौतम मुनि संपूजित राम, सुर मुनिवर गण संस्तुत राम, नाविक धावित मृदुपद राम, मिथिलापुर जन मोहक राम, विदेह मानस रंजक राम, त्रयंबक कार्मुक भंजक राम, सीतार्पित वर मालिक राम, कृत वैवाहिक कौतुक राम, भार्गव दर्प विनाशक राम, श्रीमदयोध्या पालक राम, राम राम जय राजा राम, राम राम जय सीता राम, राम राम जय राजा राम, राम राम जय सीता राम, अगणित गुणगण भूषित राम, अवनीतनया कामित राम, राका चंद्र समानन राम, पितृवाक्याश्रित कानन राम, प्रिय गुह विनिवेदित पद राम, तक्षालि निध मृदु पद राम, भरद्वाजा मुख नंदक राम, चित्रकूटादिनिकेतन राम, दशरथ संतत चिंतित राम, कैकेयी तनयार्चित राम, विरचित निज पथ कर्म कराम, भरतार्पित निज पादुक राम, राम राम जय राजा राम, राम राम जय सीता राम, दंडकावन जन पावन राम, दुष्ट विराधन व्यासन राम, शरभंग सुतीक्ष्णार्चित राम, अगस्त्यानुग्रह वैदित राम, गृध्यादिपगति सेवित राम, पंचवटी तट सुस्थित राम, शूर्पणखादि विधायक राम, करदूषण मुख सूदक राम, सीता प्रिय हरिनानुग राम, मारीचार्ति कृशाशुध राम, विनष्ट सीतान्वेषक राम, गृध्यादिपगति दायक राम, शबरी दत्त फलाशन राम, कबंद बाहुच्छेदन राम, राम राम जय राजा राम, राम राम जय सीता राम, हनुमत सेवित निज पद राम, नत सुग्रीवाभीष्टद राम, गर्वित वाली संहारक राम, वानर दूत प्रेषक राम, हित कर लक्ष्मण संयुक्त राम, राम राम जय राजा राम, राम राम जय सीता राम, कपिवर संतत संसृत राम, तद्गति विघ्न ध्वंसक राम, सीता प्राणारक राम, दुष्ट दशानन दूषित राम, शिष्ट हनुमद्भूषित राम, सीता वेदित काकावन राम, कृतचूड़ामणि दर्शन राम, कपिवर वचनाश्वासित राम, राम राम जय राजा राम, राम राम जय सीताराम। रावण निधन प्रस्थित राम, वानर सैन्य समावृत राम, शोषित शरदि चातित राम, विभीषणा भयदायक राम, पर्वत सेतु निबंधक राम, कुंभकर्ण शिरछेदक राम, राक्षस संग विमर्दक राम, अहिमहि रावण चारण राम, समृद्ध दशमुख रावण राम, विधि भव मुख सुर संस्तुत राम, कस्तित दशरथ वीक्षित राम, सीता दर्शन मोदित राम, अभिषिक्त विभीषण नत राम, पुष्पकयानारोहण राम, भरद्वाजाभिनिषेवन राम, भरत प्राण प्रिय कर राम, साकेतपुरी रामन, साकेतपुरी भूषण राम, सकल स्वीय समानत राम, रत्नल सत्पीठासित राम, पट्टाभिषेकालंकृत राम, पार्थिव कुल सम्मानित राम, विभीषणार्पित रंग करा, कीशकुलानुग्रह कर राम, सकल जीव संरक्षक राम, समस्त लोकाधारक राम, सकल जीव संरक्षक राम, समस्त लोकाधारक राम, राम राम जय राजा राम, राम राम जय सीताराम, आगत मुनिगण संस्तुत राम, विश्रुत दश कंठोद्भव राम, सीतालिंगित निर्वित राम, नीति सुरक्षित जनपद राम, विपिन त्याजित जनक जरा, कारित लवणा सुरवद राम, स्वर्गत शंभुक संस्तुत राम, स्वतनय कुशल वनंदित राम, अश्वमेध कृत दीक्षित राम, कालावेदित सुरपद राम, अयोध्यक जनमु राम, विधिमुख विबुधानंदक राम, तेजोमय निज रूपक राम, संस्कृति बंध विमोचक राम, धर्म स्थापन तत्पर राम, भक्ति परायण मुक्तिद राम, सर्वचराचर पालक राम, सर्वभवामय वारक राम, वैकुंठालय संस्थित राम, नित्यानंद पद स्थित राम, वैकुंठालय संस्थित राम, नित्यानंद पद स्थित राम, राम राम जय राजा राम, राम राम जय सीताराम, राम राम जय राजा राम, राम राम जय सीताराम, राम राम जय राजा राम, राम राम जय सीताराम। हरे कृष्ण माता जी, थैंक यू.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Wonderful. It was so wonderful.
Hari Bol, Mataji.
Very nice.
Hari Bol. Wonderful, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna. Medhavani Saki Mataji, shall I make you the host or what shall I do, Mataji?
No, Mataji, you can be the host. I just joined to attend the session only. Today is Ramayana session, right?
Mataji, you want to start a kirtan, Mataji, by the time Prabhu joins?
No, actually, anyone else wants to do, that's also fine.
Yes, Mataji. Anybody else? Or shall we ask Mataji only to sing?
Shall I, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Atma Ramanand Ramana आत्मारामानंद रमणा अच्युत गोकुल हरि नारायण अभय हरणा वंदित चरणा रघुकुल भूषण राजीव नयना आत्मारामानंद रमणा आत्मारामानंद रमणा अच्युत गोविंद हरिनारायण भवभयहरणा वंदित चरणा भवभयहरणा वंदित चरणा रघुकुल भूषण आनंद नयना आत्मारामा आनंद रमणा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे आत्मा आनंद रमणा अच्युत केशव हरि नारायण भवभय रमणा वंदित चरणा रघुकुल भूषण आनीव नयना आत्मारामा आनंद रमणा आत्मारामानंद रमणा। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्णा। प्रभु जी
Hari
has
Hari
joined.
Bol Mataji, wonderful Kirtan.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Shilpa Mataji, I have made you the host, Mataji. You can make me the co-host if you need any help, Mataji. I'll be here.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Achyut Gopal Prabhu ji has joined, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Prabhu ji. Pranams.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, Hare Krishna. Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hello.
So today is and it is being started by His Grace Achyut Gopal Prabhuji. We already know him. Prabhuji is from Goa and we greatly him over there. He also come to Aurum a couple of times, and for us, Prabhuji is expert in Ramayana. So again, he'll be taking us to the series of Ramayana. Today, Prabhuji has accepted to take one session. We wanted more and more sessions from him, but then because of his unavailability, he has decided to take one session. So today's topic, which Prabhuji would be speaking on, is the journey to surrender. So quite hidden. It is not what you are expecting. So let us see what Prabhuji has to speak on this topic. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. We welcome you again. Can you make Prabhuji co-host? Shilpa Mataji, please make him co-host.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
And Spotlight also.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Om Agyantimirandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadhamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutaha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamshta Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamshcha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtatade Shatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचंद्राय वेदसे, रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीताये पतये नमः। श्री राम राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे, सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं राम नाम वरानने। Hare Krishna. So I'm very happy to be here at Inner Consciousness Forum once again. Very grateful to Ashish Prabhu and all the wonderful devotees here who have very lovingly called me over here. So it's always been a pleasure to come on this forum and interact and speak to all the wonderful devotees here. All of you all are so sincere that you all are doing these sessions every day. I think last time also I came, I was very much impressed by this program that is going on. And I think due to the blessing of COVID, we have all got this platform of Zoom where we don't have to literally go out anywhere, just sit online and you can relish all this Krishna Katha that is going on. There's a very beautiful verse in the Bhagavatam. This is the first canto, 6th chapter, 34th verse. This is Narad Muni telling Vyasdev. So Narad Muni says, Etad di atura chittanam matra sparshas chaye muhu bhava sindhu plavo drishto haricharyanu varnanam. So Narad Muni explains here, all of us in this world, we all experience anxiety. Atura chittanam. So this world is called Kunta. Kunta means a place of anxiety. Constant anxiety everyone has. And what is the cause of this anxiety? Matra sparshas chaye muhu. As soon as a living entity wants to enjoy sense gratification, wants to be the enjoyer, there is immediately anxiety that comes in. So Narad Muni is explaining here, for people of this world, all the conditioned living entities, all of us, if we want to experience freedom from anxiety, we want to experience real bliss, real peace, real happiness, Narad Muni is suggesting one formula. Bhava Sindhu Plavo Drishto Hari Charyanu Varnanam. So Narad Muni is saying, if you want to experience freedom from anxiety, take shelter of a boat. Just like if you're in the midst of an ocean, if you're fallen in an ocean, it is big anxiety. I mean, the ocean waves are like very powerful, very scary. Prabhupada explained that when Prabhupada's ship Jaladuta was sailing in the ocean, Prabhupada was actually seeing that this huge Jaladuta was like a little matchbox in that huge ocean. So just imagine if you're fallen in this ocean, huge waves, very scary waves, sharks, and so many living entities. This is 1.6.34. 1.6.34. So the material world, the ocean of birth and death, is much more scary. It's much more scary than the Pacific Atlantic Ocean. So if you want to experience freedom from all this anxiety, if you want to experience freedom from this ocean of birth and death, you have to take shelter of a boat, Plavo. And what is this boat? Hari Charyanu Varnanam. The boat is the boat of Krishna Katha, the boat of discussion about the topics of Krishna, about Lord Ram. This is the boat of Satsang. So Srila Prabhupada has very mercifully given us this boat. In fact, the same Bhagavatam, the 10th canto explains, Samashrita ye pada pallava plavam mahat padam punya yasho murare bhavam buddhir vatsa padam param padam 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 yad vipadam natesha. This is Bhagavatam 10th canto, 14th chapter, 58th verse. So here it says that in this world, There is danger at every step. So we want to experience freedom from all this danger. One has to take shelter. Pada Pallava Plavam, the lotus feet of Krishna. This Krishna Katha is actually that boat that has come to rescue all of us. And Srila Prabhupada and all the great acharyas, they have taken shelter of this boat and gone back to the spiritual world. And they have left this boat for all of us. Generally, if someone uses a boat and takes the boat and goes across the other side, the boat is no longer available this side, isn't it? But this boat of Krishna consciousness, this boat of Krishna Katha, hearing classes, coming to satsang, is such a boat. All the great acharyas have crossed the ocean of birth and death taking this boat, but they have left this boat for all of us also. This boat is still there. So in this way, if we take shelter of this boat of Krishna Katha, of Krishna consciousness, and spend our time hearing about the glories of Krishna, about Lord Ram, we can be so happy. We were just discussing Chaitanya Charitamrit, where Ramananda Rai and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meet in Kovur, and Mahaprabhu is so happy to spend time with Ramananda Rai. And Mahaprabhu tells Ramananda Rai, you please come to Jagannath Puri. We'll spend all our time together discussing Krishna Katha. So as devotees, this is something that's very important for all of us, that we come together and discuss all these wonderful pastimes of the Supreme Person of Godhead. So with this meditation and with this introduction, we will get into today's Ram Katha. So tomorrow is the beautiful occasion of Ram Navami, the appearance of Lord Ram. So that Supreme Lord appears in every yuga. Paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So the Lord comes to annihilate the miscreants, to protect the devotees, and to establish dharma. And what is the most important thing is the Lord comes and performs such beautiful pastimes so that we can get a subject matter to meditate on, to speak on. And these are some things that we can apply in our life. So today's topic, as Ashish Prabhu mentioned, is the journey to surrender, the journey of transformation. What should be the ambition in everyone's life? Everyone in this world has some ambition or the other, some aspiration or the other. So today's story is a very powerful and a very important story that will make us rethink what our ambition should be, what our goal should be, what our aspiration should be, and how do we reach this point of how do we achieve this perfection and how do we achieve this goal. So what I'm going to speak today is the story of Vishwamitra. It's a very beautiful story. Many of you might have heard this story, but not in all the details. But this story of Vishwamitra is very powerful message for all of us. So Vishwamitra was originally a king, and he belonged to the lunar dynasty. He belonged to the Chandra Vamsha. So it is explained that in the Chandra Vamsha, there was this great king called Pururava, which comes in the 9th canto of Bhagavatam, the story of Pururava. So Pururava's great grandson was Janu Rishi. All of us know Janu Rishi is the one who drank Ganga and allowed Ganga to come from the ears. So one of the name of Ganga is Jahnavi. So Janu Rishi also comes in the same lineage. And the great grandson of Janu Rishi was Kusha. And the grandson of Kusha was Gadi. And Gadi's son was Kaushika or Vishwamitra. Right? So Kaushika, Vishwamitra's another name was Kaushika. So Vishwamitra, being in this line of great kings, Vishwamitra was very, very powerful. And he would go around this world conquering different kingdoms and establishing his supremacy. Very, very powerful king. So one particular time, when Vishwamitra, he's going on this hunting excursion, he comes to the ashram of Vashishta Muni. So Vashishta Muni is a Brahma Rishi, is a sadhu. So Vashishta is living in a very humble setting along with his disciples. So Vishwamitra goes there and he sees that there is hardly any furniture. It's a very simple setup because sadhus, they don't waste time in, increasing material opulences. They will invest their time in advancing in spiritual life. Srila Prabhupada explained that all of us have to develop this sadhu mindset, right? We may not be in the dress of sadhus, but it's important that we develop this mindset. And what is this mindset? Simple living, high thinking. Don't complicate life. Life is already complicated. Try to simplify life and focus on something higher. So Vashishta was a very intelligent sage who lived very simple and he focused on his spiritual development. So when Vishwamitra enters the hermitage of Vashishta, he goes and offers obeisances to Vashishta and seeking his blessing in a very humble mode. And Vashishta also welcomes Vishwamitra because he's the king. He welcomes him with very sweet words. So that time Vashishta tells Vishwamitra, I have a desire to serve you and all your soldiers and ministers. I want to feed all of you all prasad. So Vishwamitra is thinking, Vashishta is living in the middle of a jungle, hardly anything in the ashram. How is he going to feed all of us? So Vishwamitra says, no, it's enough. Your sweet words are more than enough for me. I don't need all these things. But Vashishta insists that no, all of you all come. I will arrange a feast for all of you all. So Vishwamitra brings all his ministers and all the soldiers and everything to the ashram of Vashishta. And Vashishta, to the surprise of everyone, he brings a cow. The name of this cow was Shabala. So he brings this cow and Vashishta tells this cow, my dear Shabala, please feed Vishwamitra and all his people. So Vishwamitra was thinking, this Shabala looked like an ordinary cow, a simple cow. But Vishwamitra didn't know at this point that this Shabala was not an ordinary cow, it was a Kamadhenu cow. And this Kamadhenu cow means wish-fulfilling cow. It could fulfill anyone's desire. And this Kamadhenu cow had come from the ocean of milk. During the Samudra Manthan Leela, there are many things that came out. One of that was the Shabala cow. And Lord Vishnu had given to Vashishta so that Vashishta can use it for his yagyas and things like that. So Shabala remained with Vashishta. So here there is so as we listen to the story, we will see a very interesting storyline also, and we will see a lot of lessons that we can learn. So one very important lesson at this point is, you can never judge a person by the externals. This cow Shabala looks to be such a simple cow, but Vishwamitra didn't know that this cow could fulfill any of a person's desire. So you can't judge a person just by the look. We all know in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is the story of Gadadhar Pandit, who Mukunda takes Gadadhar Pandit to meet Pundarik Vidyanidhi. So Mukunda tells Gadadhar Pandit, there's a very great soul, Pundarik Vidyanidhi. You come and I'll take you to him. So Gadadhar goes to meet Pundarik and he sees Pundarik Vidyanidhi sitting on a very costly throne, silken throne, all cushions. And he sees Pundarik Vidyanidhi wearing the most costliest dress, silk dress, gold ornaments, right? And he's chewing pan. He's eating pan. And there is one person who's holding a silver pot so that he can spit that pan on. Two people are doing chamar, morpunk. And Pundarik Vidyanidhi, he has hair in which he has applied the most costliest oil. And Gadadhar, he's trained as a brahmachari, as a renunciate. He looks at Pundarik Vidyanidhi and is thinking, what kind of devotee this is? This is like a materialistic man. So that time Mukunda starts to chant some prayers from Bhagavatam, glorifying Krishna. And when Pundarik Vidyanidhi hears these prayers, he goes in such an ecstasy. He starts to tear his clothes, starts to throw the ornaments, and he starts to show such symptoms of ecstasy, 10 people couldn't control him. And then he finally falls unconscious. When Gadadhar Pandit sees this, he realizes that I made a mistake. I judged Pundarik by the external, but it actually is a very, very great soul. So here Vishwamitra is judging Shabala by the externals, but Shabala was a very powerful cow. And as Vashishta ordered, Shabala produced so many hundreds of dishes, the best of dishes, and in all variety, sweet, sour, pungent, all the tastes, everything was produced, the perfect dishes. So Vishwamitra and all his men had a great feast. All the people of Vishwamitra were very happy. But Vishwamitra became envious at this point. Because Vishwamitra was thinking, I am the king of this kingdom. And Vashishta is my citizen. He's a sadhu in my kingdom. But Vashishta has a cow that I don't have. So Vishwamitra was thinking, I need this cow. So a leader ultimately should be one who is in this mood of servant. A leader who thinks himself the proprietor, that I am in charge of whoever is under me, such a leader doesn't act like a perfect leader. So a leader is someone like Lord Ram. Therefore, people worship Lord Ram as Maryada Purushottam, perfect leader. So Lord Ram was in the mood of servant. He served all his citizens so well. But Vishwamitra, his training has not happened fully properly. So therefore, he comes in future in the association of Lord Ram to get this training done. But Vishwamitra at this point, he's feeling that I am the king. Everything has to belong to me and everyone has to listen to me. He doesn't command respect, but he demands respect. So Vishwamitra goes and tells Vashishta, see, my dear Vashishta, I want the Shabala cow. I'm ready to give you 1 lakh milking cows in return. Vashishta tells Vishwamitra, Shabala is my mother. Cow is my mother. We don't barter and we don't sell cows. This is not possible. Vishwamitra is feeling that Vashishta wants more. This is his style of bargaining. So Vishwamitra tells Vashishta, I will give you 14,000 elephants, fully decorated with gold, 800 golden chariots, 11,000 horses, 10 million milk giving cows. Give me this 1 Shabala. Vashishta tells, no bargaining. This Shabala is given to me by Vishnu, very special gift. And all the more, Shabala is a very integral part of my life. In Vedic culture, cows are not considered an animal. When a cow is there in someone's house, cow is considered to be a family member. So cow is not counted in an animal species. She is a mother. So this is the way actual people, the Vedic culture people would see cows. Therefore, Krishna, the prayer to Krishna is Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Idhayacha. Prabhupada explains that Go Brahmana, for Krishna, more dear than the Brahmanas are the cows. Very, very dear. So having respect for cows is something that's very important. So here you see Shabala is a wish-fulfilling cow. But actually, every cow is a wish-fulfilling cow. If you go to a cow and sincerely offer your prayers and seek blessings from this mother, the cow definitely blesses. Definitely the blessing comes. So Vashishta was treating this cow as a person who deserved respect. Vishwamitra was treating the same cow as an object that could be bought, that could be a price tag could be attached to. So both of them, Vashishta and Vishwamitra, they are seeing the same cow, but different mindsets. So it all depends on how we see, what kind of training we have. Whether we are seeing through the mindset of respect, if that's your vision, then you will treat everyone with great respect. But if you're treating from the point of view of your own selfishness, your own enjoyment, then you will see the same person as an object of your own enjoyment. So Vashishta told Vishwamitra, nothing doing, you give whatever you want, I'm not going to give Shabala. Because Vishwamitra was greedy, he felt that Vashishta also will be greedy. Right? But Vashishta was very, very satisfied. So finally, Vishwamitra tells Vashishta, see, everything in this kingdom is mine. This cow is in this kingdom, it is mine. Vashishta tells Vishwamitra, look at this cow carefully. Shabala's leg is not on the ground. She is 1 inch above the ground. So she is not in your kingdom. She is already above your kingdom. So there is no way Shabala is your part of your citizen. So when Vishwamitra understands that Vashishta is not going to give the normal way, discussion is not going to work, Vishwamitra tells his soldiers, drag Shabala and take her away. And they all forcibly drag Shabala and try to take her away from Vashishta. And Vashishta is very helpless because as a Brahmana, he doesn't want to object at this point. And he's the king, ultimately Vishwamitra. So Vashishta doesn't say anything. So at this point, Shabala, she has tears in her eyes. So she is looking at Vashishta and asking Vashishta, what did I do wrong? Why are you sending me away? And Vashishta doesn't have anything to speak. So Shabala somehow pulls her away from the clutches of Vishwamitra's men. And she comes running to Vashishta. And with tears in her eyes, she's demanding answer from Vashishta. Why is this happening to me? Why are you rejecting me? So Vashishta tells Shabala, see, first thing is, I am a Brahmana. This is a king. And whatever he does, good or bad, I have to just surrender to him. And second thing, Vashishta tells Shabala, Vishwamitra is a guest. Ultimately, we can't humiliate a guest. We have to just follow the guest, whatever he wants. So Shabala becomes very angry. Shabala tells Vashishta, what you're saying is not correct. Vishwamitra may be a king, but you're a sadhu. In Vedic culture, a king is supposed to respect a sadhu. And a king is supposed to listen to the advice of sages. So this is an actual ideal king who would have ministers who are all great souls. In Dasharath Maharaj's kingdom, he had so many mantris, all of them were very great rishis. Therefore, the king himself could be a Raja Rishi. Right? So in this way, Shabala tells Vashishta, king, he may be a king, but he has to actually follow your advice, which he is not doing. So Shabala tells Vashishta, I don't want anything from you. You please give me permission. I will protect myself because I have to fight against this exploitation. So every time when we come across a situation like this, when people start to abuse us, someone with power, I mean, what is happening here is something that we see every now and then. They say that power is, something that can intoxicate anyone practically, right? So when someone like Vishwamitra has this power and he wants to exploit, the question always comes, should we just tolerate or should we do something about it? Should we stand up and fight? So Shabala here is giving the answer. If you have the power, stand up and fight. Or if you don't have the power, empower others so that they can stand up and fight. So Vashishta at this point, he didn't want to oppose Vishwamitra, but Vashishta told Shabala, you continue, you go and protect yourself. So Shabala, she makes a loud sound, a screaming sound, and from her body, unlimited number of Pallava soldiers come. And all the soldiers charge towards Vishwamitra's army. Vishwamitra jumps in and kills all the Pallava soldiers. Shabala again manifests unlimited number of soldiers. This explained here, the amount of tribes and soldiers she produces. Pallavas, Dravidas, Shakas, Yavanas, Savaras, Kanchis, Pondras, Haritas, Kiratas, Sinhalas, Kasas, Shivukas, Pulingas, Chainas, Hunas, Keralas. These are all the various soldiers that she produced. And many of them are still present, like the Pallava soldiers is from South India. You have this Pallava dynasty. Yavanas refers to, the Western people. So there were the Greeks and so many other tribes that were, the Mlecha tribes that were produced from the body of Shabala. And all of them went and attacked Vishwamitra's army. And in no time, Vishwamitra's army was wiped off. Vishwamitra had 100 sons. All of them came to attack Vashishta. Because these 100 sons of Vishwamitra felt Vashishta is the root cause, let us kill Vashishta. Vashishta just chanted a humkar. He made a powerful hum sound and all of them were burned to ashes. Now Vishwamitra is left alone. Right in front of him, his entire army wiped off. All his children dead. So Vishwamitra is so hurt. He's very disappointed. He returns home. But after returning home, Vishwamitra has no interest in any of the palace or any of the comforts there. In English, there's a saying that someone who's honored, dishonor is worse than death. A Kshatriya can take physical hurt, but he can't take hurt on the ego. He just can't tolerate that. So Vishwamitra was a Kshatriya at this point. He just couldn't tolerate this. He just wanted one thing. He wanted revenge. He just wanted to prove himself superior to Vashishta and he wanted to defeat Vashishta. With this mission, with this ambition. So in this whole story, we are going to see how the ambition of Vishwamitra keeps evolving. Right? So maturity in life is when we evolve to the highest ambition and aspiration. Right? So now the journey of Vishwamitra is beginning. All of us, like Vishwamitra, we are in our own journeys. We have our own life. And every situation in life brings about a certain aspiration. We feel that, and this is what I want to become. This is what I want to become. I want to prove myself. So Vishwamitra's mission and ambition at this point is he wanted to prove himself greater than Vashishta and he wanted to defeat Vashishta. So he leaves his palace, which is very difficult to give up. He leaves it because he was so focused So one thing about Vishwamitra, the reason he became very successful was he was highly focused. Highly focused. So he just goes to the forest, he gives his kingdom to his only surviving son, and he goes to the forest. And there he starts to worship Lord Shiva. And for many, many years, he worships Lord Shiva with a lot of focus. And finally, Lord Shiva appears in front of him and he's asking Vishwamitra, what do you want? Now, to get darshan of Lord Shiva is not easy. It's not easy. And Shiva comes in front of you and is asking you, what do you want? You can ask so many things. Vishwamitra could have asked Shiva, my dear Shiva, you are the greatest Vaishnava, Vaishnavanam yata Shambho. You are a great devotee of Lord Ram. The verse that we chanted, Rama Rama Rameti, Rame Rame Manorame, Sahasranama Tattulyam, Rama Nama Varanane. This is what Shiva tells Parvati. Parvati is asking Shiva, what names do you chant? So this is what Shiva tells. I'm a great devotee of Lord Ram. So Vishwamitra saw Shiva. He could have told Shiva, please give me blessing to become a great devotee of the Lord. He would have asked so many things. But the only thing was in his mind was revenge. He told Shiva, please grant me the knowledge of all the military science and all the missiles in this world, all the divine missiles. I just want that. Shiva said, okay. Because when you are blinded by a desire, when you have a certain desire, you can't see anything beyond it. Just like in Ramayana, Ravan was obsessed with the desire to enjoy Sita. Ravan couldn't see anything else. He just couldn't see anything else. He couldn't even hear the advice of so many people. So Shiva said, okay. And Vishwamitra got the knowledge of all the celestial weapons. And Vishwamitra, right from that meditation, he comes back to the hermitage of Vashishta. And there he comes and he wants to take revenge now. And he throws one celestial weapon. And the whole hermitage of Vashishta is destroyed. And all the disciples of Vashishta just run away in fear. And Vashishta comes out holding a Brahma Danda. So Brahma Danda is a 7-knotted staff of a Brahmana, which generally in those days the Brahmanas would have, which would contain all the powers of their meditation, tapasya, dhyan, like that. So this Brahma Danda represented all the tapasya of Vashishta. So Vashishta comes with a Brahma Danda and he stands in front of Vishwamitra. And Vashishta scolds Vishwamitra. You foolish guy, you have used your power in unnecessarily destroying an hermitage. It has no use. So Vishwamitra becomes so angry with the chastising of Vashishta. He tells Vashishta, try to outdo me. And Vishwamitra starts to throw every celestial missile. One missile after another, one arsenal after another. And Vashishta is just standing there with this Brahma Danda. And every celestial missile touches the Brahma Danda, it gets neutralized. Nothing happens to Vashishta. And Vishwamitra is feeling what is happening. And then finally Vishwamitra takes his Brahmastra, the weapon that never fails, the most powerful weapon of Lord Brahma. And he throws the Brahmastra with great hope. This Brahmastra also touches the Brahma Danda of Vashishta. And this Brahma Danda neutralizes the Brahmastra. And Vishwamitra has no weapons left. Again, Vishwamitra, his ego is so hurt, so wounded. His head is down. And Vishwamitra is thinking, what is wrong? First time, a cow defeated me, humiliated me. Second time, one danda, one stick humiliated me. You see, the degree of insult is inversely proportional to the size of the entity causing it. So Vishwamitra is all the more hurt, all the more insulted, because this one danda destroyed all his missiles. Just like in Krishna Leela, you have Krishna lifting Govardhan Hill. So Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill on the left hand little finger. Why did Krishna do that? Because he wanted to insult Indra royally. Royally wanted to insult. There is a story in the Ramayana. I don't know whether you all know this. One time, Ravan hears about the power of Vali. He understands that Vali is very, very powerful. So Ravan decides, let me come and catch Vali. I will attack him. So Vali, he would do, even though Vali was very sinful, but he was a Brahmana, he would do his Sandhya regularly. So Vali, when he was doing his Sandhya, Ravan comes from the back and tries to hold Vali. because Vali had a locket. If he would come in front of anyone, half of that person's energy would come into Vali. So Ravan didn't want to face Vali. He came from behind. And Vali was busy doing his Sandhya. So Vali, what he did, he didn't want to stop his Sandhya. So he just coiled Ravan with his tail. And taking Ravan in his tail, Vali jumped in all the 4 directions to complete his Sandhya. And Ravan was feeling so insulted. So insulted. Arey Vali, at least hold me in your hand. You're holding me in your tail. What will I tell people? So when you are, when a insignificant thing insults you, then it is actually very, very painful. So Vishwamitra again is humiliated royally. So in the story, there's also one very important lesson. We will see at the end of the story how Vishwamitra actually surrenders to the Lord. But many times, before we come to this point of surrender to the Supreme Lord, many times we have to go through these phases. So life is a school of hard knocks. So many times when realizations come, only when we are humiliated. Burijanru, who is Srila Prabhupada's very senior disciple, Burijanru has written a very beautiful book on Japa. So in this book on Japa, he explains, before real humility comes, we will see at the end of the story, Vishwamitra at this point is very arrogant, but in his journey in life, he becomes very humble. Many times for humility to come, humiliation has to happen. Only through humiliation we learn our lessons. So Vishwamitra is so humiliated. He goes back from the ashram of Vashishta, but his aspiration has changed. He now wants to be a Brahma Rishi. You can see the evolution of aspiration. He wanted to be a very powerful Kshatriya. He wanted divine missiles. Now he wants to be a Brahma Rishi like Vashishta, because he understands the Kshatriyas are useless. Brahmanas are the most powerful. I want to be a Brahma Rishi. And he decided, whatever happens, come what may, I will only stop when I become a Brahma Rishi. So one thing that we can learn from Vishwamitra definitely is this kind of determination. So determination means come what may, how many ever years, we are ready to wait until we achieve that goal. In Bhagavatam 10th canto, when Rukmini writes the letter to Krishna, my dear Krishna, you please come and kidnap me, the first love letter. So Rukmini tells Krishna, my dear Lord, if you don't accept me now, I am ready to wait for millions of births, but I will not get married to anyone. I will only get married to you. So that was the determination of Rukmini. So your Vishwamitra is determined, I will become a Brahma Rishi. So Vishwamitra again goes to the forest and he does intense tapasya, this time to please Lord Brahma, because only Brahma can award him this title of Brahma Rishi. And he does tapasya for years and years and years and years. And finally, he hears Brahmaji comes to him, and Vishwamitra is expecting Brahmaji to say those two magic words, Brahma Rishi. Brahmaji comes and tells him, I am very, very pleased with your austerity. I award you the title Rajya Rishi. And Vishwamitra is he's feeling so disappointed. I've done tapasya for so long, and just the Rajya Rishi, Brahma Rishi title is way far up. So what to do? Anyway, he has to wait. Brahmaji gives this certificate of Rajya Rishi and he goes back. So at that particular time, as Vishwamitra is doing this tapasya, there was a king in Ayodhya called Trishanku. And so this Trishanku is so this Trishanku is the king of Ayodhya much before Lord Ram. So Trishanku, he was so beautiful. This is the king of Ayodhya. He was so beautiful. He would spend hours and hours in front of the mirror, looking at his beauty. Probably many people in this world can relate to Trishanku. People spend a lot of time, in front of the mirror. So Trishanku was spend a lot of time in front of the mirror, admiring his own beauty, completely Trishanku conscious, not Krishna conscious, completely Trishanku conscious, always thinking about him. Right? That's how most people are. So one day, looking at his beauty, he was so mesmerized. Trishanku got an ambition. So today's katha is all about ambitions. right? What ambition is right? What should be the actual ambition that all of us should have? So Trishanku had an unusual desire and ambition. This desire and ambition entered his head that I don't want to die. I'm so beautiful. I don't want to die. And I want to enter into the heaven in this same body. So just as they say, na, hell bent. Someone is hell bent to do something. So Trishanku was heaven bent. Whatever happens, I want to go to heaven in the same body. So Trishanku goes to his guru Vashishta, because Vashishta is the Kul Guru of Ayodhya. He goes and tells Vashishta, my dear Gurudev, please help me so that I can go to heaven in the same body. Many people go to Guru in this mode. They go to Guru to get their work done from the Guru. So they feel that Guru is just sitting to fulfill all their desires. So this is how most people go. So Trishanku went to Vashishta, you are my Guru. I am not supposed to serve you. Generally, a disciple has to serve Guru. So this guy is going to the Guru to make Guru serve him for some material thing. Vashishta tells Trishanku, you foolish guy, how can you get this desire also? You are a king of Ayodhya, such a great dynasty. You are a black spot in this name of this dynasty. And Vashishta chastises Trishanku like anything. You foolish guy, this is not possible. Give up this idea. But Trishanku is hell bent, yeah, heaven bent, whatever. So Trishanku doesn't want to hear a no. So Trishanku feels that Vashishta is too old. He is too old-fashioned and too orthodox. He's not ready to listen to new ideas, and he's not ready to bend rules here and there. So Trishanku goes to the 100 sons of Vashishta, and he tells the 100 sons, see, now it is a time to prove all of y'all. If you send me to heaven, all of y'all will become very famous. Now it is a time for all of y'all to prove yourself. Please send me to heaven. So these 100 sons of Vashishta, in one voice, they say, impossible. You foolish guy, our father rejected you. Your guru rejected you, Vashishta, and you're coming to us shamelessly. Get out of here. And Trishanku tells the sons of Vashishta, see, if you can't do it, I will find someone else to do it. When the sons of Vashishta hear that this fellow is so shameless, they curse Trishanku that you will lose all your beauty and wealth. Next day in the morning, Trishanku becomes very ugly. He becomes the ugliest person. And he becomes a pauper. He becomes a beggar. And he becomes so ugly and so poor, people in Ayodhya are not able to recognize him. Trishanku goes to his ministers and tells them that I am Trishanku, your king. No one is able to recognize him. They all kick him as an irritating beggar and send him away from the kingdom. So this is the result of not listening to superiors and finding shortcuts in life. So Trishanku, he is also very determined. He's also very ambitious in life. He does a Google search and finds out the arch enemy of Vashishta is Vishwamitra. So he understands that if Vashishta can't do it, definitely Vishwamitra will help. So he goes to where Vishwamitra is doing his tapasya to become a Brahma Rishi. So now two people with material ambitions, Vishwamitra has his own ambition and Trishanku has his own ambition. Both of them come together. And Trishanku is trying to find out whether through some activity, both of us can find their ambitions. So Trishanku comes and tells this whole story to Vishwamitra and tells him, see, I'm not doing harm to anyone. I don't want death of anyone or something like that. I just want to enter heaven in the same body. What's wrong? And Vashishta couldn't do it. So I thought you can help me. You will become more glorious if you do this. So Trishanku used flattery to flatter Vishwamitra, and he used the weakness of Vishwamitra because Vishwamitra's weakness was Vashishta. So he told Vishwamitra, if you can do this, you will outperform Vashishta. So Vishwamitra didn't want to lose the opportunity because he was doing all this Brahma Rishi stuff only to prove himself greater than Vashishta. So he says, no problem, I will do it for you. So Vishwamitra tells his sons, whoever sons were surviving, he tells them, call all the sages. I am going to perform a yajna and I am going to send this guy to heaven in the same body. So the sons of Vishwamitra go and call all the sages. All the sages knew that this is not possible. One cannot go in heaven with the same body. One cannot go to heaven without punya. They knew this. But they knew that Vishwamitra is very powerful. If they don't go, he will curse him. So just to save themselves, they all come there. And Vishwamitra does this huge yagya, and all the sages are just watching. Even though they are not supportive of this, they didn't have a choice, so they're just sitting there. After the whole yagya, you have to call the demigods and offer them their share of oblations. So Vishwamitra calls all the demigods. No demigods come. No one turns up there. So Vishwamitra is waiting that probably they'll come in sometime. No one turns up. So finally, Vishwamitra understands that the demigods are not agreeing for the sacrifice. But if the demigods don't come, and if he's not able to send Trishanku, Vishwamitra will cut a very, a very sad face in front of everyone. Vishwamitra's name will get spoiled. Now, so many sadhus have come from the world, and if this yajna is a failure, then Vishwamitra himself is a failure, and he'll be defeated by Vasishta. So Vishwamitra decides, I have to do something. So Vishwamitra uses all his tapobal. So till now he had accumulated a lot of power because of doing tapasya to become a Brahma Rishi. See, anytime you do tapasya, there is some shakti that you get, subtle kind of energy. So Vishwamitra used all his tapasya, and he used the ladle that you pour ghee into the yajna kund. He used that ladle, and he started to chant mantras with great intensity and with great putting all the tapobal. And he started to make Trishanku fly to the heaven in the same body. Right in front of everyone, Trishanku started to fly in the same body, is flying towards the heaven. And all the sages are thinking, how is this possible? This is impossible thing. So Vishwamitra, we thought he was an ordinary guy. This was so powerful. Their jaws were hanging just seeing this happening. And Vishwamitra was focused, eyes tight, eyebrows knotted, with great intensity he is chanting. And Trishanku is flying higher and higher. So Trishanku, this guy, to go to heaven, this fellow didn't do any punya. He is using the power of Vishwamitra. So Vishwamitra is chanting and Trishanku is flying. So Trishanku initially feels that he is in such ecstasy because Trishanku is actually seeing that he is going to heaven in the same body. He is in bliss. But as he starts to go higher, Trishanku, because of the air pressure, his body starts to break. His veins start to burst. His head starts to burst. And he's in misery. So the lesson here is, any shortcut to success appears great in the beginning, but very soon the suffering will come up. And very soon you will realize that it's actually not a shortcut. It will cut your success short. So Trishanku is realized at this point that this is a dangerous thing that I've done. And Trishanku is trying to shout from there, Vishwamitra, I don't want to go to heaven. Please stop this. But Trishanku is reached too high. Vishwamitra can't hear him. And Vishwamitra is chanting and chanting, and Trishanku is going higher and higher. His head is bursting, his body is bursting. And just as this fellow is about to die, he sees heaven. He sees the dreamland, that land of aspiration of his. And then Trishanku is so elated. Finally, I'm entering into heaven. So as this Trishanku puts his head and enters into heaven, the security guard of heaven goes and runs and tells Indra, there's one intruder who's come in. This fellow doesn't have the entry pass, the Aadhaar card to enter heaven. This fellow is entering in. So Indra leaves whatever work he's doing. He comes and tells Trishanku, you useless rascal, you have offended your guru and you're trying to enter heaven without punya. Indra turns him upside down, and with his head down, Indra throws him down. Get lost. And Trishanku is falling full speed from the heaven to the earth. And here the yajna is over. Vishwamitra is so elated that I've sent this guy to heaven. And all the sadhus, they take their, whatever gift and all, and they are going away. Suddenly they hear a sound of Trishanku shouting, save me, save me. And Trishanku is coming down to crash on the earth. Vishwamitra realizes, if Trishanku falls on the earth and he dies, his prestige will be lost. Vishwamitra will be a failure. So Vishwamitra again takes the ladle in the air and chants mantras with great intensity using all this tapobal and is sending Trishanku to the heaven again. Trishanku is shouting, I don't want to go. Please, my ambition has changed. I don't want to go. let me be here only. Vishwamitra tells Trishanku, no, now whether you want to go or not, I will send you to heaven. Now it is my personal matter. Now you are no longer in the picture. I have to send you to heaven. And Vishwamitra is chanting and chanting. This fellow enters heaven, his head is bursting. And as he's entering heaven, Indra turns him upside down and throws him down. So Trishanku is going like back and forth like a shuttlecock. And Trishanku realized that there's a big mistake I did. I should have listened to my guru. Because I didn't listen to Vashishta, this all drama is going on. So when Trishanku comes back again to earth, Vishwamitra realizes that this fellow is not fit to stay in heaven. And Vishwamitra cannot allow him to come to earth, because if he comes to earth, then Vishwamitra's name will be spoiled. So Vishwamitra decides, let me create a parallel heaven. Let me create an artificial heaven. So Vishwamitra, he uses all the remaining tapobal and creates a parallel heaven. A parallel artificial heaven is created with every demigod, the clone of every demigod. Artificial heaven is created. And he sends Trishanku to that heaven. You can't go there. I will not allow you to come to earth. You stay in this artificial heaven. So Trishanku goes there. So Vishwamitra used all his tapobal to create this artificial heaven. To create something is easy, but to maintain it requires all the more energy. So Vishwamitra has exhausted all his tapobal just in creating. He didn't have the energy to maintain this artificial heaven. So that time he prays to Lord Vishnu with great sincerity. Lord Vishnu comes there and tells Vishwamitra, see, creating is easy, but maintaining is difficult. That is why it's my role. But because you have created this, even though it is not sanctioned, I will maintain it. Don't worry, I will maintain it. But Trishanku will be allowed to stay in this artificial heaven upside down. He'll have to dangle upside down, because this is what Indra wanted. So Trishanku, till this point, he's there in this artificial heaven upside down. So when you're confused whether to be here, there, you're like in between, it's called Trishanku state. So when you don't listen to authority superiors, this is what will happen. Trishanku. So externally, Vishwamitra became successful. He created an artificial heaven. Trishanku, even though he didn't reach that heaven, he got some heaven. So externally to the world, it appeared that Vishwamitra has become successful, Trishanku has become successful. But internally, both of them knew, Vishwamitra and Trishanku, this is not happiness, this is suffering. His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, he has a very beautiful quote. You all can meditate on this, very deep one. He says, when desires are fulfilled, misery begins. Please listen to this again. When desires are fulfilled, misery begins. So we may have certain plans of material desires. Even it may be fulfilled, still we'll be miserable like Trishanku and Vishwamitra. This is a very important lesson here. So Trishanku is caught here, and Trishanku was repenting that I made such a big mistake. So Trishanku's story ends. But Vishwamitra realizes that I have wasted all my years of tapopal in this useless guy, Trishanku. This fellow came and played around with me. He emotionally blackmailed me. And I wasted all my tapopal on this guy in creating all this artificial heaven and doing all this drama. So Vishwamitra realizes that I have fallen because of pride. I've lost everything. So Vishwamitra, he has lost all the years of austerity that he accumulated to become a Brahma Rishi. Now he had to start all over again. So Vishwamitra gathers himself, goes in the southern direction, and again starts his effort to become a Brahma Rishi. So at this point, when Vishwamitra is doing this austerity, there was another king called Ambarish Maharaj. So Ambarish Maharaj was doing a animal sacrifice, either Ashwamedha, Gomedha Yajna. And when he was doing the sacrifice, Indra becomes insecure. And Indra feels that if Ambarish does the sacrifice, he'll become the Indra. So Indra steals that sacrificial animal and goes away. So the Purohit, he chastises Ambarish. Arey, you should have taken care of this animal. This is the final offering. Oblations has to be offered. The animal is not there. So he tells Ambarish, the only option is you have to get a human being who is ready to sacrifice himself. We have to sacrifice the human being, only then this yajna will be done. So Ambarish is thinking, who will be a person who will be ready to give himself? So Ambarish leaves his palace and he comes to the ashram of Richika Rishi. So Richika Rishi's wife was Kaushiki. And Kaushiki and Vishwamitra were brother and sisters. If you remember, when I told you the story of Vishwamitra, Vishwamitra's name was Kaushika. So Kaushika's sister was Kaushiki, who was married to Richika Rishi. So they had 3 children. So Ambarish tells them, I hope all of you are listening attentively. At the end, I will ask some question answers.
Yes, Prabhu.
Understood the characters. So they had 3 children. So Ambarish tells them, you'll have 3 children. Give me one of your son. So Richika Rishi says, the eldest son I am very attached to, I will not give. Kaushiki says, I am very attached to the youngest son, I will not give. Listening to this conversation was the middle son called Sunashepa. So Sunashepa tells Ambarish, I will come. Anyway, my mother and father don't like me. At least someone wants me. Ambarish, you at least want me for whatever reason. At least you want me. He says, I will come. He's very grateful that at least parents have taken care of him, even though they don't like him. He says, I will come. So Ambarish and Sunashepa, they come on this chariot. As they're coming back to this Yagyakunda, they stay on the bank of a lake. They take a break for lunch and they are all resting there. Sunashepa realizes, I mean, at that point, emotionally, he said, I will sacrifice my life and all that. But at this point, he realizes, Baba, I don't want to die. I still love my life. But he wanted to do something where Ambarish could complete a sacrifice and then he could save himself also. He didn't want to ditch Ambarish at this point. So Sunashepa goes out to explore some possibilities. So when he's talking to the villagers there, they all tell him there is a very great sadhu who is doing austerity here for a very long time. So Sunashepa goes and meets this sadhu and he sees that this sadhu is Vishwamitra. And who is Vishwamitra? He's the uncle of Sunashepa. So Sunashepa feels that God's plan that we rested right here and Vishwamitra happens to be right here. It's some design of God. So he tells Vishwamitra, my dear uncle, please save me. I don't want to die. This is my situation. So Vishwamitra first he asks his children, can one of you all sacrifice your life? None of his children are ready. So Vishwamitra, he curses his children, but then he tells Sunashepa, don't worry, I will give you 2 Vedic mantras. When you are being thrown into the sacrificial fire, just chant these 2 mantras. Mataji, Medhavini Mataji, you have to say something? Your hand is raised.
No, Prabhu. I just raised my hand. I have to ask a question at the end. So
Okay,
just
okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely answer this.
Advanced booking.
Good. So Vishwamitra tells Sunashepa that I'll give you 2 mantras. When you're being thrown in the sacrificial fire, just chant these 2 mantras with great focus and attention, you'll be saved. So Sunashepa, with this confidence, he tells Ambarish, come, let's go. And they all go to this yajna. And when that final ahuti is happening, when they're throwing Sunashepa into the sacrificial fire, Sunashepa with great intensity is chanting these 2 mantras. And by the power of these 2 mantras, Brahma and Indra appear there and tell Sunashepa, we bless you with a very long life. And they tell Ambarish, your sacrifice is complete without sacrificing Sunashepa. We'll give you the full credit of your sacrifice. So in this way, Ambarish could complete his sacrifice and Sunashepa was saved. So Sunashepa at this point learns few lessons in life. The first lesson he learns in life is ultimately, there is no one in this world who's ours. Ultimately, we are all alone in this world. This is a naked truth. The more we realize this, the earlier we realize it, it's better for us. So Sunashepa understands that ultimately I'm alone. My parents also sacrificed me. Second lesson he learned was the power of a strength greater than himself. When in difficulty, take shelter of a sadhu, chant a mantra with great intensity. There can be miracles that can happen. Right? So taking shelter of a higher power greater than our own is very, very important. So when our intelligence fails, when we are not able to figure out something, it's a great time to actually call out to the Supreme Lord. We saw in the story of Vishwamitra also, when he created that artificial heaven and he didn't have the power to maintain it, he cried out to Vishnu and Vishnu did come to help. This is the second lesson Sunashepa learned. And the third lesson he made, a third choice probably Sunashepa made, was he decided, I want to continue a life of a sage only. He made his ambition because he saw that Vishwamitra was ready to help him. He said, I want to be a sage who can help many other Suna shapers like this. Right? I want to help others. So he didn't go back to his house at all. He just stayed back in the forest. He went on to become a great Maharishi and he wrote many, many scriptures in his name. So now the story of Sunashepa ends here. But Vishwamitra at this point again realizes that helping Sunashepa costed him a lot of energy and time. Right? And he's a long way away from becoming a Brahmarishi. So Vishwamitra again, somehow controls himself, gathers himself, and focuses back on his tapasya. One thing that we learn from the life of Vishwamitra is, in life there'll be many distractions and many things that may come and divert us, and there may be some slips, there may be some gaps that may come in our spiritual life, but it is always important to come back. Prabhupada would give this example just like a child may fall many times. The child has to learn to get up and walk. So Vishwamitra, in this way, he is like very focused. So many failures, so many setbacks in his life, but he gathered himself and kept going. So he gathered himself and he started to do intense tapasya again. Indra becomes all the more insecure. He became insecure because of Amrish doing the sacrifice. Now he became insecure that if Vishwamitra completes this austerity, he may become the next Indra. So Indra sends Menaka, the celestial damsel. And Vishwamitra is sitting next to this lake and doing his tapasya. And Menaka enters into the water and starts to swim. And she is singing some beautiful songs, probably some Hollywood, Bollywood songs, whatever was famous at that time. So she was singing these beautiful songs. These songs, the music entered through the ears of Vishwamitra. The fragrance of Menaka entered through his nose. Vishwamitra opened his eyes and he was so stunned seeing the absolute beauty of Menaka. He fell so much in love, or he fell in lust with Menaka. He forgot his ambition to be a Brahmarishi, got sidetracked completely. And he spent time with Menaka in her embraces for 10 years. 10 years gone with Menaka. And after 10 years of enjoyment, he actually came to his senses and he realized that Indra cheated me. Indra sent Menaka so that I can get diverted. I told you this sentence now. When desires are fulfilled, misery begins. So he fulfilled his desire to enjoy with Menaka, but he was suffering at the end. But he realized that there's no point in cursing Menaka. It's my own fault. He gathered himself and again starts to do tapasya. He goes in the northern direction towards the Himalayas. And he does such tapasya that actually Brahmaji comes again. But Brahmaji tells Vishwamitra, there is still some more time for you to be a Brahmarishi. You have to control your senses. And he tells us and goes away. So Vishwamitra again is doing tapasya. And he does such tapasya that in the summer, he lights fire around and he stands in between. In the winter, he goes in ice cold water and stands there. This is the kind of tapasya he started to do. And hearing this, seeing that Vishwamitra failed with Menaka and again he comes back, Indra becomes all the more insecure. So Indra convinces another Apsara, Ramba, you please go and allure Vishwamitra. Ramba tells Indra, I will not take a chance. Vishwamitra has learned his lesson. He will curse me. Indra tells Ramba, don't worry. I will come personally. I will come as a koyal cuckoo and I will sing very beautiful songs. Kamadev will come personally with his arrow and create a very beautiful romantic atmosphere. So with this assurance of Indra and Kamadev, Ramba goes there. So when Ramba reaches there and Indra is like a cuckoo singing some songs, Kamadev has created the perfect romantic atmosphere. As soon as Ramba reaches, Vishwamitra realizes, I made a mistake before. I can't do that mistake again. I can't afford. So Vishwamitra curses Ramba with anger. You become a rock until another Brahmarishi comes and delivers you. So Ramba becomes a rock. Before he could curse Indra and Kamadev, both of them run away. They put this poor lady in trouble and they both ran away. So Vishwamitra realizes, oh God, I cursed Ramba, but all my austerity, I almost made it to Brahmarishi, but I lost everything because of anger. First time he lost it because of pride, to prove himself greater than Vashishta to help Trishanku. The second time he lost it because of lust towards Menaka. The third time he lost it because of anger. And Vishwamitra decided, what can you do? I mean, there's no point in crying about everything. I have to continue on. So Vishwamitra starts all over again. All over again. You see, only the path of bhakti, you do bhakti to Krishna, and you stop at some point, now you start from that point on. The other processes, if you don't perfect, you have to start from the beginning. Everything was lost. So Vishwamitra gathers himself and starts again all over. And he does such austerity, he stops eating, literally stops breathing. Fire starts to emanate from his head. And all the demigods get so affected, they all go to Brahma and tell him, please give this fellow the title of Brahma Rishi, otherwise we'll all die. So Brahma comes with all the demigods and tells Vishwamitra, my dear Vishwamitra, your ambition is fulfilled. After so many years of struggle, failure and everything, now we all recognize you and we award you the title of Brahma Rishi. Hari Bol. There was like a certificate distribution ceremony in front of everyone. Vishwamitra says, this is good, but I will not accept it like this. Only when Vashishta comes and tells that I am Brahma Rishi, only then I will accept. Because he was doing all this game only to take revenge. Vashishta comes there and tells Vishwamitra, you are Brahma Rishi. That time, Vishwamitra does something. This is a very important turning point in the ambition and the maturity and growth of Vishwamitra. All this Vishwamitra was doing for revenge, to prove himself superior to Vashishta. After Vashishta comes there, and Vashishta tells Vishwamitra, you are a Brahma Rishi. You know what he does? Vishwamitra takes the feet of Vashishta, puts it on his lap, and he starts to wash the feet of Vashishta. And he starts to drink that water, put it on his head. Because Vishwamitra realizes becoming a Brahma Rishi was not a child's play. He realized that it took so much effort. But at this point, he realized what Vashishta's status is. He was thinking that I can just become like that. So at this point, Vishwamitra becomes humble. All his arrogance goes away, all his anger, envy goes away. And he starts to develop great respect and love for Vashishta. So the journey of Vishwamitra is the journey of a person who wants to prove himself, who is very angry, who is very ambitious materially, who has envy, to a person who actually becomes humble, very respectful. And then when he surrenders to Vashishta, and Vishwamitra actually himself becomes a great devotee at this point. So we all know that when Lord Ram is being, when Dasharath Maharaj and all the ministers are thinking about the marriage ceremony of Lord Ram, that time Vishwamitra comes in Ayodhya. And Vishwamitra tells Dasharath, I'll not get into the full details of that, but Vishwamitra tells Dasharath that I want Lord Ram. Why did he want Lord Ram? Because Vishwamitra, at this point, of surrender, of humility, he wanted to surrender to Lord Ram. So he wanted some private time with Lord Ram. Because for Vishwamitra realized that Vashishta is more intelligent than him. Because initially he thought as a Kshatriya is powerful, but then he realized that as a Brahma Rishi, Vashishta is more powerful. Right? So Vishwamitra knew that Vashishta is way ahead of him in everything. So Vishwamitra is thinking, Vashishta, who is a sadhu, and generally sadhus don't stay in one place, they keep moving around everywhere. Why is Vashishta always there in Ayodhya? Because Vishwamitra realized that the same Vishnu has appeared in Ayodhya as Lord Ram. Therefore, Vashishta is in Ayodhya so that he can get association of Lord Ram. And because still by now, Vashishta had become like his role model. So Vishwamitra decided, I also want to have some private time with Lord Ram. So he takes Lord Ram away in the plea of helping Lord Ram, that he helps him kill Maricha Subhahu like that. But he actually wanted some private time with Lord Ram. And then it is explained that when Vishwamitra takes Lord Ram to the forest, the first night they spend on the bank of the Sharayu, very beautiful Sharayu Nadi in Ayodhya. So that time Lord Ram goes to sleep. Vishwamitra chants very beautiful songs and a lot of stories to Lord Ram and puts Lord Ram and Lakshman to sleep. At that time, the next day in the morning, when he comes to wake up Lord Ram, he sees the sleeping beauty of Lord Ram. And when he sees the beauty of Lord Ram, there is great devotion that comes up in his heart. Till now, Vishwamitra was used to a life of austerity. Austerity means a life of toughness, hardness. And bhakti is a life of softness, right? Of devotion. These two lives are completely different. Vishwamitra was like a self-made man, a self-made Kshatriya, a very ambitious Brahma Rishi. But when he sees Lord Ram, he realizes that all this was useless. All this Brahma Rishi title, Raja Rishi title, and all this getting divine missiles is all useless. Just seeing Lord Ram and developing devotion to him is the perfection of life. At that time, Vishwamitra wholeheartedly surrenders to Lord Ram like a child surrenders to the mother. So till now, Vishwamitra wanted to be great. He wanted to become superior. But at this point, Vishwamitra realized that the perfection of life, because Vishwamitra did become a Brahma Rishi, he did satisfy all his ambitions. But after getting all those posts and positions and recognitions, he was not happy. So Vishwamitra is teaching all of us, whatever your aspiration is, if your aspiration is like Trishanku to enter into the heaven, if your aspiration is like Vishwamitra to become a powerful king, to become a Brahma Rishi, whatever your aspiration is, even if you get that aspiration, you will not be happy. This is what Vishwamitra is teaching us. There's one very successful and a very rich billionaire from the West. He had written a very beautiful sentence. He said, my wish is that everyone should become a billionaire and trillionaire. So my sincere wish, everyone should become a millionaire, billionaire, just to realize that after getting there, no one is happy. So many times like Vishwamitra, we all want to get to a certain position. But after we get there, we realize that there is no happiness here. So Vishwamitra is teaching us, don't follow my example. You don't have to go through those years of austerity, struggle, failure, this, that. Just come to my last conclusion. Vishwamitra just surrendered to Lord Ram. And when he surrendered to Lord Ram, like a child surrenders to the mother, cries out to the mother, that is the point Vishwamitra was most happy and most satisfied in. Therefore, the first kand of Ramayana is called Balakand. In this Ramayana, the first kand, Bal doesn't refer to Lord Ram. Because in this entire kand, only 10 verses of the childhood of Lord Ram is explained. So the Bal is not Bal of Lord Ram in Bala form, because hardly any Bal Leela of Lord Ram which we have ever heard of. Anyone heard of any Bal Leela of Lord Ram? Hardly anyone. The Bal here refers to, the child here refers to Vishwamitra. So Vishwamitra's journey is to, from becoming a very powerful Kshatriya to a Raja Rishi to a Brahma Rishi, ultimately to become like a child, a devotee of Krishna, devotee of Lord Ram, helplessly calling out to the Lord. And this is where life's perfection comes in. Srila Prabhupada, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a story of Pratap Rudra Maharaj. You all know the story? When the king of Orissa, Pratap Rudra, he does a lot of ways in which he wants to get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. He wants to meet Lord Chaitanya. It doesn't happen. Finally, during the Rath Yatra, when Lord Chaitanya is taking rest in one beautiful garden there, Jagannath Vallabh garden, King Pratap Rudra goes dressed as a very simple sadhu, gives up all his royal dress, goes as a simple sadhu there, and he chants Gopi Geet to Lord Chaitanya, massaging the feet of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya becomes so happy listening to Gopi Geet. Lord Chaitanya embraces the king, and he's asking the king, who are you? You have given me Krishna Katha. Who are you? So the king, how does he introduce himself? Raja Pratap Rudra. He says, Raja kahe ami tomar daser anudas, brityer britya kara ei mora ash. The Raja doesn't say that, my dear Lord, I am the king of this Orissa. You don't know me. Have you not seen my pictures in the newspaper? He doesn't say all that. He says, my dear Lord, I am the servant of your devotees. And to remain the servant of your devotees is my aspiration in life, my ambition in life. So Prabhupada explains the greatest title, the greatest position, the greatest ambition that a living entity can ever experience is the journey in this material world. going through all the 84 lakh species, going to heaven, going anywhere and everywhere. The greatest title is when you get the title of Das, ya Dasi, servant of Lord Ram, servant of Lord Krishna. And this is what will actually give us pleasure. Naam bina kichu nahi ko aar, 14 bhuvana mali. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, my dear Lord, other than your holy names, other than bhakti to you, nothing will satisfy us. Nothing. Right? So this is the lesson that Vishwamitra is teaching all of us, that rather than wasting time in achieving so many titles and accolades of this world, achieving so many things only to realize that it's not going to satisfy us, better we become intelligent, better we don't go through the experience that Vishwamitra has gone through, and we can just accept this realization and surrender wholeheartedly to Lord Ram, to Lord Krishna, mood like a child cries out to the mother, and then perfect our life. Thank you very much. Jai Shri Ram.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Such a wonderful class, Prabhu. I really don't have words for this. With what realizations we went through the entire journey. We could picturize the entire journey of Vishwamitra. And we never knew this story. I mean, it's. Thank you so much for the association. Can we open for questions, Prabhu?
Yes.
Yeah, Medhavini Mataji, you can ask your question.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. It is always very wonderful to hear the pastimes and also the lessons that you very nicely bring out while narrating the pastimes. Very important and to understand that. I understand the entire journey of Vishwamitra, from his desires, how his desire got transformed. Ultimately, very beautifully also told about humility. If you're not, we need to be, what is that word you used? We need to be humiliated. Then only we become humble, if you're not naturally humble. And that is also a purification process. But Prabhu, to a different perspective here, I was just thinking of the pastime of Parikshit Maharaj. He enters into Shamik Rishi's ashram, he puts that snake, he gets cursed by Shringi, wherein Prabhupada in the purport mentions Parikshit Maharaj is a king, right? So a king expecting that a sage has to offer him water, etc., and putting that is still okay. It's not a mistake. It's not so much of a mistake that he had to be punished, to be killed like that. And later on, Prabhupada also says that this was ordained by the Lord, because Parikshit Maharaj later on we know 7 days and nights he did not even think of water, what to speak of anything else. So at that particular point in time, it was Krishna's will that he put that snake around so that Bhagavatam could be delivered. It was a plan of the Lord. So I was just thinking of that when you were narrating this pastime. I wanted to understand if Vishwamitra Muni, right? He's a king, of course. So he is passionate. He wants to attain. He wants to take the Kamadhenu cow, etc. But from the point of view of Vasishtha Muni, he's a Brahmana. If the king wants the cow, why would he be so attached to not give the cow? So that was a question that arose in my mind when I raised my hand for the first time. And then as you completed the class, I was relating to Parikshit Maharaj pastime. Ultimately all is well that ends well, right? It was very favorable for Vishwamitra Muni. He actually got much better than the Kamadhenu cow that he wanted. So can we say here, because the first question that arose in my mind is, why is Vasishtha attached to the cow? He's a Brahmana. He got it from Lord Vishnu. If the king of the world wants, why can't he just give the cow? Why is he so attached? And then he's telling the cow also, okay, you protect yourself. And when his sons, were attacked, then he chanted at whom or something like that. And, he protected. So somewhere I thought, why is a Brahmana acting like this? And then I was just contemplating as you proceeded over the lecture, that is this the will of the Lord, that Vasishtha Muni was an instrument to actually give this knowledge to all of us that, whatever be our material ambitions, even if we attain it, like you very beautifully put that, it is all destructible, but ultimately what we have to attain is loving service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So can we understand that Vasishtha Muni reacted the way that is also the will of the Lord to, to entirely unfold this learning for all of us? If not, why would a Brahmana be attached to the cow and go through all of this? It was a kind of an equal fight between Vasishtha and Vishwamitra. We can understand Vishwamitra's perspective. He is a Kshatriya, he is passionate. Like even for Arjuna, Prabhupada says, he is a Kshatriya, right? That is natural. But for Vasishtha to compete with Vishwamitra, if it is not, the hand of providence or Krishna's will, why would Vasishtha act in this way? I just wanted to understand both the perspectives, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Yes, thank you for a nice question, and thank you for bringing the perspective of Parikshit Maharaj also. So basically, yeah, what you said is also correct. Ultimately, through all the story, we can understand that there is a certain plan unfolding. So the Lord wants to definitely learn from the life of Vishwamitra that we don't have to go through all this. We can just come to the conclusion that he came to. That's definitely the plan of the Lord. And being as far as Vasishtha being attached to the cow, so we saw that Vasishtha actually allowed Vishwamitra to take, but when Shabala herself didn't want to go, you see, if it was a thing, agar kuch cheez hota tha, then probably Vasishtha would have still given it away. But a cow is an entity, she has her own emotions. So it's very important that, the needs of the cow is also met. So Shabala was very strict that she wanted to be under Vasishtha. So therefore Vasishtha told Shabala that, yeah, you do take care of yourself. So this is one perspective of the whole thing, that Vasishtha was not very attached, but Vasishtha wanted to give a voice to Shabala also, wanted to support Shabala, which I think is very important in today's perspective when we see that when we see exploitation in front of us going on, we can definitely, ultimately, if it's for us, we can definitely accept it as God's plan and will. But for others, definitely we should be able to, if we can help, we should definitely try to help others also. But beyond everything, as you said, the will of the Lord is there. We may not be able to understand every intricacy of the story. We may not be able to understand, why Vasishtha did something, and all that is very difficult for us to understand. Just like Narad Muni, Narad Muni going and telling Kamsa that any child could be the son of Devaki. So it's very difficult to understand the mindsets of great souls. Probably there may be some acharya who's quoted something on that. But I think the overall lesson is definitely the Lord's plan, in which Vishwamitra also plays a part. So sometimes the Supreme Lord puts someone in a certain position where he externally appears to be like a bad person, like Kaikeyi, yeah, Vishwamitra. But ultimately, all these are great souls. Vishwamitra is definitely a great devotee of the Lord. So through this, he himself takes this role so that he can teach a lesson to all of us. And I think that's the lesson that we have to focus on.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Krishnamurti Prabhu, you can ask your question.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranams Prabhuji.
Yes, we do.
Prabhuji, I am grateful to you. This is this lecture class. It is to be get recorded. And it is we have to hear regularly, we have to hear this record. Yes, because your kind self has told so many life lessons. Make us like life is a school of hard knocks. So how we were facing in daily life, and then to what extent we may be rich, there is no satisfaction. And then when desires are fulfilled, misery begins then. So these are all the life lessons. So we have to remember always. And then this is a very, very, beyond that, I can't able to express, I am not well versed in English. That is a major problem. As per as my knowledge, I am put forth the words before you, Prabhuji. I am grateful to you. Only thing is, we have to hear your classes again and again to make us perfect. And we must not be fallen from the devotion. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. I am grateful to you. I have no questions. Instead of that, it is to make in our life. This is the only thing. I am grateful to you. Thank you, Prabhuji, for having given opportunity to talk. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
It's for me also to meditate on.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, our request will be to please, if you could come very often, because these were such clear life lessons, that we learned from the great devotees and from the katha that you told us. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, so many life lessons we have learned today. We can practice this in our life, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Amazing class.
Yes, Prabhuji. As Krishnamurti Prabhuji rightly said, we have to listen to this every day, so that it is, and the way you have flawlessly gone on for good 1.5 or 2 hours, Prabhuji, it was like, not for a second did we deviate from what you were talking. So we were so Nicely you went on, Prabhuji.
All of
Thank you
you are
so
very
much.
sincere.
Yes, Prabhuji,
Sometimes
Pranam,
those who,
Prabhuji.
sometimes those who hear get more benefit than one who's speaking.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. We are greatly elated. Please keep coming. Probably we could have
Can
a
we end
full
the class,
conversation.
Prabhuji?
Thank you
Can
so
we
much.
end the class, Prabhuji, with
Yes,
your
yes.
permission? Vanchakalpatarubhyascha
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha
kripa
kripasinubhyascha
Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Antakoti Vaishnavendra Srila Prabhupada
Jai
ki
Srila
Jai.
Prabhupada Jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu
Jai
Pranam.
Sri Ram.
Thank you
Prabhuji,
so much.
Hare
Jai
Krishna.
Shri Ram.
Prabhuji, please, Krishna coming.